Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, it's after lunch. Good afternoon. I'm Tony DiMedio. I'm an associate partner with McKinsey Company in our public sector practice in the Washington, D.C. office. You may have wondered as you walked in here, what exactly have you stepped into? We'll get to that in a second. But through our work, what we'll do today over the course of the next half hour or so as part of this spotlight session is really focus on a notion that you've been hearing about a lot today, and I'm sure you've heard about a lot before you got here, which is this notion of doing more with less. You know, this imperative in the world today, particularly for government, to achieve better results with fewer resources. We think there are a couple of things to delve into, which we'll do collectively over the course of the next half hour. But one thing I just wanted to relay before we get started, I mean, a lot of my work is in the public sector and is focused on issues of strategy in the public sector. And a lot of folks think of strategy as a private sector term that means how do you create competitive advantage or win more market share or things like that. I think it fundamentally comes down to choice. What is it that you choose to focus on, where you choose to put the greatest emphasis as an organization that helps you think about resource prioritization, that helps you think about what are the areas that are of most risk to me, that helps you think about from a budgeting standpoint, how do I get strategy and priorities to drive budget and not the other way around, which so frequently happens in our institutions. And we'll talk about what I'd encourage each of you to do, and we have a number of experts in the room from McKinsey today to help you do this, is to walk out of here with a couple of very tactical, tangible ideas for how to go back to your jobs tomorrow or even this afternoon and incorporate some of this thinking. What we don't want to do in this session is just to introduce you to some high-level concepts that rarely, if ever, make it into the work that you do. So that's the aspiration, at least for today. I want to introduce three concepts at different levels, and they'll mirror some of the stations that we have around the room, and then we'll break up. The McKinsey Center for Government is a center that McKinsey has set up to help fundamentally public sector institutions, both in the U.S. as well as internationally, achieve greater and lasting performance. We think there are three fundamental pieces to actually getting there. The first is to understand the global context and trends that are out there. What is driving this imperative for governments to do more with less? That make your jobs, as if they weren't hard enough, that much harder in this world of increasing complexity and greater competition for resources. Where do I have my folks? So Blair Epstein, Upasana Uni, Eric Braverman will be hosting a session up here focused on getting to a deeper understanding of what those trends are. Because frequently what we find is most helpful is before you set out on a course, you want to get the facts right in terms of understanding, okay, what's out there that defines my operating environment. So that's one station that we hope you'll explore today. The second theme is around setting specific strategies for success. So how do we maximize government's impact by focusing on a couple of topics that really matter? One is performance-based budgeting, and Fiona Greig is here from our Washington, D.C. office and public sector practice to lead that discussion, which will be in the back corner. And another of these areas that's really important is cybersecurity, which is something that's scary for a lot of folks, but again, comes down to taking a risk-based approach to prioritize, okay, how do we think about this threat and really think differently about how we attack it versus other security threats that we might have thought about in the past. And Chris Rezick is an expert in cybersecurity from McKinsey's Boston office, and he'll be leading the cybersecurity station up here. That's the second topic around strategies for success that we hope you'll explore. And the third, which is capabilities for execution. As good of a strategy or as an approach you might design, you all know it only is as good as the people then who go and execute it, and the investment you make in those people to actually transform your agency, to actually transform government. And so we have three of our experts in government transformation and capability building here today, Ian Jefferson, Susan Charnaux, and Mark Manukas, who will lead some discussions around government transformation and capabilities for execution. And really getting at, again, not just the theory, but how do you actually make this change take place? And I'd encourage all of you in that spirit to visit the station and model office that we, McKinsey, have set up in that center atrium where you can kind of whisper and then you just hear it resonating throughout the entire building. Some really great additional material out there to really delve into, whether it's over the break or at the networking reception afterwards. So in the spirit of not talking at you, but actually engaging in a discussion, what I'd like to ask everyone to do, again, we've got 5 stations set up around the room. What are the global context and trends? What's driving this imperative to do more with less? Performance-based budgeting, cybersecurity, government transformation, capabilities for execution. Pick the one that you want to focus on over the next, I'd say, 7 to 10 minutes, and engage in a discussion. Again, like I said, we've got experts who cover these topics in great depth, and then we'll do somewhat of a rotation. If you get tired of the station that you're at, pick another one. There's plenty of opportunity to delve into it. Be a good post-lunchtime activity for all of us. We'll burn a couple extra calories on our feet instead of sitting in the chairs. So with that, I'd say get up, and we're going to head out to the first rotation.